Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Atari A to Z, a series of short playthroughs of Atari 8-bit games, some which I grew up with and some which are new to me. Today's game is Beachhead, which was a 1983 release from Access Software, developed by Bruce Carver and Kevin Homer, and released in Europe by US Gold in 1984. The game was originally developed for Atari 8-bit and Commodore 64, but Commodore 16, ZX Spectrum, BBC Micro, Acorn Electron and Amstrad CPC ports were developed by US Gold to cater to the popular platforms of the European market. The game is an action strategy game that unfolds in the Pacific theatre of World War II. And like several of Bruce Carver's later games, some of which we've seen on this series previously, Beachhead unfolds as a series of mini-games in which you control various vehicles and troops as they attempt to accomplish various objectives. The game was very well received on its original release, but some publications noted in retrospective reviews that it didn't take long for the game to start feeling a bit dated. That did not, however, stop Computer Gaming World from declaring Beachhead the 117th best computer game ever released as of 1996. Nothing like being damned with faint praise, eh? The top 5 were Civilization, Ultima 4, Mule, Dynamics' Red Baron and Doom if you were wondering, while the worst game of all time as of 1996 was Sierra's much hyped CD-ROM strategy game, Outpost. Alright, with all that in mind, or indeed without that in mind, let's go play Beachhead.
Okay, here we are with Beachhead by Bruce Carver and Kevin Homer from 1983. I'm actually more familiar with the sequel to this game, Beachhead 2, The Dictator Strikes Back, largely because back in the day I used to enjoy it a bit more than this one. I have played this before, but I was never like super good at it and never quite feel like I 100% got what was going on. So it'll be interesting to return to this and see if I can figure it out a bit better than I could as a child. So, as we said before, this is a multi-part game in which your overall goal, as in most Bruce Carver games, is to invade an enemy base, which is the flashing black dot in the bottom left corner. You have two possible approaches to this. I'm controlling the white formation of ships up at the top of the screen, and I can either head for this flashing black passageway up here, which is like a secret entrance to the base, or I can pass through the straits there and attack head on. Now, it's more challenging to go through the secret passageway, but you can get more points, and it also makes some of the subsequent stages a little bit easier. So here is the secret passageway. I am, of course, controlling the ship, which can turn left and right, but it can't go any further left than moving horizontally across the screen. So you can't move down the screen at all. You can adjust your speed by pushing up and down on the joystick, but this is a ship you are piloting, so any adjustments you make to its speed are quite gradual. So you need to get a feel for that. It does have quite a decent turning response, at least, which is just something. And you see that there's no real sort of inertia or anything to worry about. As soon as you turn, it immediately starts going in that direction, so you don't have to worry about sort of asteroid-style momentum. But you do have to keep an eye on the shots that are being fired across the screen and the little white mines that are there in the background, because all of those are trying to kill you. And your aim in this stage is simply to get as many of your 10 ships through as possible. So we've already lost one, but you'll see that the ones we are successfully getting through, those are becoming those highlighted circle icons down at the bottom of the screen. And we just continue with this until we've either lost or successfully navigated our last ship through the passageway. At which point we then move on to the next phase. I'm playing on the easiest difficulty, by the way, because, like I say, this is not a game that I know super well. I played it a bit back in the day, but as I say, I didn't really... I never quite felt like I understood it to its full potential, so I felt like it was probably safest to give the easiest difficulty a go. Depending on how long it takes us to get through this, we may well have a look at one of the... Oh no! Oh! That was silly. Should have waited. There's no time limit. I should have just waited. No sense trying to outrun these things. Take it easy. Navigate carefully. And as in other Access software stuff, I believe Raid over Moscow was probably the last one we saw. The better you do in this earlier phase, the more of an advantage you're giving yourself later on. So the more ships you get through, that means the sort of more resources you have for the subsequent phases. All right, last one. Carefully through the passageway. And we're done. So we then continue on our way towards the base. And then we can attack the fleet here. So there's two phases to attacking the fleet. There's this initial sea to air phase here, where you have to try and hit as many of the incoming planes as you can. This is the bit I always struggled a bit with as a kid. So I always found it quite tricky to judge where you should be shooting. But it's just a matter of figuring out where the planes are going to be and positioning your shots accordingly. And I assume that red guy is bonus points. There we go. Yeah, I think sort of leading your shots is a good strategy in this segment here. So sort of figuring out the position of your guns, and then that's it. And then timing your shots so that they reach the apex of their shot as the plane is passing through them, like that, and that allows you to much more reliably hit them. Oh, we've lost a ship. That looked like 20 damage to lose a ship, I guess. Not 100% sure how long this goes on for. I know this switches to like naval combat at one point, and you have to actually shoot the ships that are off in the distance rather than the incoming planes. But the advantage of going through that secret passage at the beginning is that there's fewer planes to deal with in this phase. Oh, there we go. Alright, now we're on to ship shooting. So here you have to sort of fire at them artillery style, using the information down at the bottom of the screen to help you. You've got to be careful, because the longer you hold the button, the quicker that the elevation of your cannon happens. Now, it does tell you in the manual what 4, 5, 6, 7. It does tell you in the manual what each how many degrees of elevation corresponds to how many meters short or long you were. But I can't remember what it is. Was it 10 degrees for 1,000 meters? I think it might have been. So if we bring this right forward... Oh no, that's much too far. Okay, 1,800 meters short. So if I go by 1 degree, what does that change? So 1 full degree changes by 200 meters. So half a degree is 100 meters. Okay, so we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Beautiful. Right. Okay, 6,400 meters short. So that means we want to be about 12 degrees higher. Is that right? $3,400 short. Okay. Right. So 3.5 degrees more. That should do it. Oh, just short. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gotcha. Only got 3 ships left, though. Gotta hurry. This one here looks quite a bit closer, so 900 meters short. Easy money. Then just the last one. You'll notice at the start of this section, the aircraft carrier that was shooting the planes at us headed off the screen. You get a lot of bonus points if you can sink the aircraft carrier, but obviously it's quite difficult to do because, 1, it's moving, and 2, you've got to do all this nonsense. We got it in the bag. Oh, too long. Is he moving? If so, that's very rude. Gotcha. Right. Okay, so now we make a beachhead. And we take our tanks and we shoot stuff. And we also avoid stuff, I believe. Because we don't seem to be able to shoot a lot of these things. I believe you have to get several of these tanks through to... Oops! You need to get several tanks through to where you're going in order to succeed at this part. You can't speed up or slow down your tank, you can just move from side to side and fire your gun. And try not to hurt your eyes on the slightly janky scrolling. So this is one of those sort of shoot 'em up style stages where you want to try and fire and forget almost. You know, set off your shot in the right position and then just move out of the way so that the enemy doesn't get a chance to shoot back at you. Nice shot. Be careful not to go through the middle of that because that looks like mines. Oh no! Ugh. I suspect we're going to fail at our mission here because I think this resets every time that you die. But that, I suppose that does give you the sort of advantage of being able to memorize the layout of what's going on, because it is the same layout each time at least. It is tricky. Although, I suspect I'm probably making it harder than it needs to be. Just watch out for this chap. Fire it off over the bridge. Steer well clear of the mines. Give them plenty of space because the collision detection is a bit precise in this. believe it's old school collision detection. Yes, it most certainly is. It's old school collision detection based on sprites overlapping one another rather than hitboxes. Okay, well, after that, I believe there's just one more phase, which is trying to sort of shoot shells into the enemy base. So what we can do then, if we can go back to the start screen. There we go. Let's try one of the harder difficulty levels and see what difference that makes. Is like I say, because I'm not super familiar with this game, I tend to play on the easiest difficulty level most of the while. For the biggest contrast then, let's stick it on skill 4 and see what happens. And I believe what happens, if you clear the first level, it just moves you straight up to the next difficulty level and you just have to try and survive as long as possible. Alright, what does the secret passage look like? It's a lot faster, but not really any more complicated. Whoops! Okay, well... ooh. Yeah. No! That is tricky, actually, because I don't think your ship's any faster. But those shots most certainly are. Oh yeah, that is difficult. Just because you have so little time to sort of get out of the way with the nature of the controls in this section. If something is coming your way, you don't have very much time to figure out how you're going to avoid that. Yeah, I suspect our adventure may be ending somewhat prematurely in the enemy's secret passage. Alright, come on, get through. Alright, good, good. No! Come on, last ship. I can do this. No, I can't. Well, good. Score 0. Go me. Let's have one more go at the first difficulty level. And I'll just see if I can make it around one whole cycle of the game, because that would be something I've not achieved before in this game. I can't even remember if I'd ever seen that tank battle section back when I played it as a kid, because I think I would get hung up on that on the sort of artillery section where you had to shoot down the enemy ships. Right, let's have another go. Now we're going to skip these scenes, which is a bit of a bummer. You have to just wait for them to progress on to the next. Alright. Skill level 1, back where I belong. Now, obviously, we didn't get far enough to see, but I would also assume that in the harder difficulty levels, the ammunition meters become more of an issue. Because you probably noticed on our first playthrough of this that they never really declined. Like, as soon as you fired a shot, it would immediately refill. So you didn't need to worry about ammunition at all. So that would make sense. And that would also be in keeping with how other Access software games did things. If you think back to Raid over Moscow, we had things like, on the harder difficulty levels, you had to worry about the altitude of your ship when you were taking off out in the space station and stuff as well, which is not something you even had to think about at all on the beginner levels. And that, to me, is always a really interesting approach to difficulty. When difficulty levels actually add additional mechanics to the game, I always find that really interesting. And it provides an incentive to explore those different difficulty levels rather than just sticking in your comfort zone all the time. Because it feels like you're playing a different game mode rather than just making the game harder. Which is always nice. I feel like that's not something we tend to see all that much these days. There's been the odd case. I want to say there's been like some first-person games where you could sort of adjust the level of the combat and the puzzles and the interaction and that sort of thing, but nothing quite to the same degree as what we'd see back on these 8-bit games and some 16-bit games. Actual mechanical differences, different game modes rather than just making the enemies tougher or faster or whatever. I suppose something like Star Ixium on PS1 is a good example. Because in that one, the 3 quote-unquote difficulty levels are completely different game modes. So you have the training mode, which is the same every time. You have the command mode, which is a series of small-scale missions. And then you have the conquest mode, which is a large-scale campaign that you have to approach sort of strategically, as well as being able to handle the action side of things. That's a really interesting and cool game if you've never tried it. As is its Famicom predecessor, Star Luster. And I know it's probably sacrilege to say so, but despite the fact that they are obvious attempts to compete with Atari Star Raiders, I actually think I like them slightly better than Star Raiders. Don't tell anyone. I don't think there's any shame in that. Because, I mean, they came well after Star Raiders, so of course they were able to iterate on the premise of Star Raiders and do more interesting things with it. So, yeah, on paper, of course they would end up being better games, but, you know what some people are like. Yeah, if you look at the ammunition gauge down in the lower right there, yeah, so that it's never actually declining fast enough to make ammunition an actual problem. I get the hang of this now. Just got to anticipate where they think the planes are going to come. And fire in that position with the right timing. The timing is the important thing. Because if your shots don't hit that plane at their apex, then you're not going to hit it. Oh, I'm getting the hang of this, he says, failing to hit anything whatsoever. There's one. Oh, ship down. There's some nice animation on those planes, actually. There's like a nice number of different frames of animation to give them the illusion of actually coming out the background. And a nice sense of 3D. The bombs are a little less convincing, but we'll let them off. Yeah, I remember sort of quite disliking this game as a kid because Beachhead 2 looks so much nicer than this game, or is at least more technically accomplished than this game. It's more colourful, it uses more fancy Atari graphical effects and that sort of thing. And so that always made me think it was better. But looking at this now, I'm quite fond of this kind of really stylized silhouette look. Let's see if we can hit the aircraft carrier. 2,300 meters short. Come on, I got you. I got you. Yes! There we go. Right. Okay, much too long for that one. So I think in the case of this one, it seems to be... So I'm making fairly large sweeping adjustments to begin with is the best bet. And then only worrying about the fine-tuning when you're down to relatively close. So that's when you want to start counting the degrees and so on. So here we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And take it out. Alright, 2 more to go. 300 meters short, that's easy to fix. 2, 3. Hit! This one's going to be much closer, isn't it? Oh, just missed. Lovely shot. Oh, and bonus points, presumably for the number of ships we have left. I don't remember seeing this last time. Maybe we just didn't have very many ships left. Alright, we have 60,000 points. And it's onwards to the beach. Oh, we got loads more tanks this time. Presumably there's 1 tank on each ship then. Alright, watch out for the gun, fire the gun, shoot the gun over the bridge. Easy peasy. Carefully thread the needle there. Don't touch anything. Shoot that. Lovely. Pattern recognition is your best friend in old video games. Oh, okay. So here we have another sort of artillery bit, and we have to shoot the glowing hole, I guess. Before the massive gun takes us out. That's why you need multiple tanks. You don't have very long to deal with. I believe the manual said that 3 tanks should be enough. I guess it all depends on how quick you are. Oh, it's harder this time. More stuff to shoot. No trouble for my mad tank skills though. Carefully, that's it. Oh, he's not there at the time. That's nice. Oh, I don't like the look of you. It's nice that it's different obstacles, not more obstacles. That's cool. I like that. A lot of time for that. Come on, big pink thing of death. I don't think there's any indicator on screen of how much damage that there is left to do on that. I guess you just have to keep going until it's done. It's good you can shoot through walls. That makes this much easier. I guess they would probably justify that as you shooting over walls. Oh, you're in an awkward place, aren't you? Not for long. Don't like that a little bit. That's tense. Oh, I missed. Damn it. Oh no, I lost a tank. Come on, boys, we got this. Yeah, it is a shame that scrolling's not a little bit smoother. I mean, it's not offensive or anything, but I think the Atari was capable of better than that. Oh no, 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 no! Why me? Concentrate! You will get no second chances, apart from the other ones that are waiting for you over there. Calmly, carefully advancing. Nothing to worry about from enemy gun turrets. All we have to do is just accurately destroy them. Squeeze through that annoyingly awkward bit of wall. Shoot that out of the way. Lovely. Navigate safely through here. Take him out. Right. Fine. Everything's fine. And 4 spare tanks. Should we need them. Come on, quick. Hurry up. No! It's gotta feel good when I finally take that thing down, isn't it? Assuming I do. I mean, that's probably misplaced confidence at this point. Oops, missed. Got him. A little too close for comfort. Mobile targets there. Don't like that at all. Alright, it's fine. It's all good. This is a nicely paced game, actually. With the possible exception of that secret passage sequence right at the beginning. None of these sections feel like they're going on for too long. So, like, you got the tank bit, and then you got the target shooting bit, and then you back to the tank bit and the target shooting bit, and so on. Come on, hit it. Hit the bloody thing. I've done it! Yeah, you better surrender. Alright, I've never done that before. That's exciting. Oh, game over. Oh, you don't go round again. You just, that's it. Fair enough. But yeah, that's cool. I enjoyed that. I say I enjoyed that a lot more than I did back in the day because I understand what's going on now. Always a good thing, isn't it? But anyway, yes, that is Beachhead by Access Software. Bruce Carver and the other guy, Mr. Homer. I've forgotten his first name. Apologies. Anyway, yeah, a good time. A good time. Worth checking out. And like I say, do check out the sequel as well. I'm not sure if it's a superior game. It certainly looks nicer than this one in terms of technical proficiency, but I always preferred it back in the day. But would be interested to compare and contrast now. So maybe next time we get around to B, if I remember, which I inevitably never do when I say things like this, maybe we'll have a look at Beachhead too. For now, though, let me just say, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.